The button has been pushed. Hello and welcome. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All aboard, motherfuckers. Guess who we got on this week? Train Songz. Train Songz. We have Promontory Paul and the Conductor here with us. And guess what? You're not going to fucking see their face because they don't want you. But, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Yo,
thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us, dude. And thank you for letting us, we're too ugly for podcasts. So thank you for letting us go anonymous here.
Do you see the only fucking face on the screen? I already explained to Prasco in last week's episode. I used to be called Beauty and the Beast, my wife and I. So he made me feel a little bit better with a kiss and telling me I was handsome. But then I started to question myself after all that. So I totally get it. I love the anonymity in the scene. We know there's a lot of nonsense and a lot of bullshit. But what you guys are doing is fucking awesome, right? And so I wanted to have you guys on because we obviously talk to similar audiences, right? And
yes, sir.
If you're listening to What's the Reason for This and you do not follow Train Songz with a Z, get your fucking ass on social media and go follow them. And what I wanted to do was, because I followed you guys for a few years, I love it. As a bluegrass fan and a music fan, I love the Train Songz too. And so for you guys to kind of come up with this, where did this all start? Like, how did Train Songz?
Yeah, man, we're longtime friends, so we're lucky to kind of have that bond going. And I think definitely since the early days, we've both been into music, a lot of the same kind of music, and that Paul actually introduced me to Billy back in the day because Paul definitely has a lifelong fixation on old stuff, and Billy, himself is definitely a champion of carrying on some like really, 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 really old songs that Paul could tell you all about, and that's why he's the one that writes the old tune review in the zine. But yeah, so we started listening to Billy together, probably like early pandemic after like hearing about him, but kind of taking like deep dives in back then. And yeah, we've been talking about him, listening to him, enjoying most shows since then. So
and
that
comes
from a
Did the Train Songz start as a meme page or what?
Oh yeah,
how
so like I was talking about our Paul. Do you want to say something?
No, just our beautiful friendship. You're right. I was actually just about to go right there. The Conductor is we were roommates in college and everything. He is he's got a social media muscle, and I think we sort of just saw like a place where we could plug into the music and the community a little bit and contribute in some way. And to your point, it started as like a meme thing where we thought, there's some funny observations to be made and funny bits to explore. But I think we stumbled upon kind of a crowd of people that shared interests not only in trains, but also like the old esoteric stuff that I'm always boring all my friends about. There's a lot of us out there. So it started for sure as a meme page.
Wait, Paul, you're gonna tell me there's actually Billy Strings fans that like bluegrass?
Yeah, it's not just the fungus, it's there's more to it. But
there definitely is. And I think that's what's so special about Billy is like, yeah, he's a fucking shredder, but his foundation came from these old school tunes, right? And he shares that with so many people that may have never even heard of it, right? But then for people like us who really love that stuff, it was awesome to see what you guys were doing. And so you obviously saw this thing in social media. Now, we know that Billy grew his brand through social media. And so did you guys kind of feel like, hey, this is a way that we can connect with an audience and start to figure it out? Did you always know it was going to be trains, or how did that kind of
evolve? Yeah, for sure. So the meme page started as a pun. It was literally just like, we definitely talked about, because we were living together at the time when we started the page. We were talking about like, we could probably do something, meme something. And we were going to call our company like Huge Hats International and like be like two guys in like really big suits. Just like doing something. We didn't know what we were going to do. We were going to do something.
You guys need to get the oversized big hats of the train conductor hat.
We do.
Like, how sick would that be to look into a crowd and there's 30 fucking giant train hats? Like, you're going to tell me Billy's not going to see that shit and be like, all right, here's fucking John Henry. Let's go.
We were kicking stuff around and we went to the Bridgeport show together in Connecticut in 2022 or 2023.
Is that home base for y'all? Is the Northeast?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And
They
the
don't
Bridgeport.
listen. They don't want you to know who they are or where they live.
No, we're not. We're not that scary. We used to live in New York together. The Conductor's down there.
Yeah,
and I'm up in Boston.
my
so.
return to address is on like thousands of zines out there.
Wait,
So,
you
like,
actually put your real fucking address on?
No, I know. I pay for a private.
For a PO box. Yes,
mailbox,
as you fucking should.
It's commutable from my house. I can get on a quick bike and I can enjoy the
drop site,
the privacy of whatever. But anyways,
just navigating through Brooklyn real quick. Don't mind me.
we went to Bridgeport together, and it was the shows where someone in, I think it was like Vermont beforehand, and I've DM'd with this person and their friend. They threw up an engineer striped train hat on stage, and Billy wore it for like 3 or 4 shows after that. It's a very specific period of time. But
I remember. I remember.
Yeah.
It.
So I tweeted this at the time. It was called a tweet. I just tweeted a picture of Billy at the show and said Train Songz instead of Trey Songs.
Yep.
And that was it. And the tweet got 0 engagement. And
I forgot there was some mystical background there, though.
Yeah.
Like then there's a train that went by as well.
There's a train goes. A train
the train
goes
as they're playing, the train went back behind.
Yeah, the train
venue.
goes. So we had the conductor hat on. The train was going by the venue, and we took the train to and from the show. So it was a train heavy day. He played Slewfoot. I don't remember any Train Songs that day, but I could check later, I guess. But yeah, so we started it shortly. I think that show was on July 21st, July 22nd, something like that. And the first meme went up, I know, on July 27th, 2023. So this is 2023. So it just like started as wanting to do our own thing in social media, but we had like no intention of the print. That kind of came a few months later. It wasn't like a master plan to pivot to print, but I care way more about the print than I do about the memes.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, we all have to get our foundation somewhere, right? And so like the memes was something easy, and then you saw that there was an audience, right? And so then from that audience, let's talk about this lovely thing, right? So good old traditional paper print media, right?
So okay, Grandpa.
So you go from the internet and digital memes shitting on people, right? Kidding, you're not. That's what I do. But now you're like, hey, I want to do something else. So then, where was the idea for the zine? And I thought the first zine came out in 21.
No, that could have been somebody else, but ours was in January of 2023, covering the fall. January of 2024, covering the fall 2023 tour. So it was just about a year ago that it started.
So then the first one came out right before the Asheville shows last year, then.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I was in line of the Nashville shows last year, like early merch and like in line to go to the show, handing out the first issue.
Yeah.
Okay. This time last year. That's right.
Okay. Yeah, so that was right. I don't know if that was before or after, because Asheville, similar, a year ago was when I had folded the poster. And that's when shit went wild.
Break the internet, yes, sir.
Dude. Let's not go there. I just keep breaking the fucking internet. But so like, what made you think like, hey, I need to fucking put something in people's hands, right? So what inspired you guys to do that? Because like print media is dying, if not dead, right? Like the days and age of getting magazines to your home or having something like a newspaper where you're actually reading, like most people are doom scrolling on a tablet or their phone, and actually having something in their hands isn't the norm. So what made you guys pursue that?
Yeah, Conductor, I know you've always had a little bit of a print, you've always been a little bit of a print freak. Like back in college and stuff, you were on like the satire paper, and there's been some of that. But I think that honestly, like getting something in the mail is such a delight, like getting something in the mail is such a delight.
Not bill.
Yeah, that's not a bill or an ad.
Or free credit card.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Getting something in the mail is such a delight. Holding something is so fun. I think that we've hit like a point of diminishing return on the screens and all that. And the thing with this crowd and the bluegrass crowd and the old stuff crowd is like I think there's a little bit of an analog vibe among us. So I don't know, if the zine thing would work if we were, I mean, it probably wouldn't work if we were like a, 100 gex zine or something.
You don't get the 100 gex zine, man?
Yeah,
oh, bro,
it probably does exist, but But I don't know. There's something like beautiful and analog about something you hold in your hands and that you read. And yeah, we've thrown plenty of illustrations and all that too. But something beautiful about reaching through the screen and touching someone.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
and then having some real artwork and also some like journals, right? Because I think for a lot of people that may not know, right? Like they see, oh, train songs, this is just strictly about trains. And like, I mean, obviously there's a lot about trains, but that's not all that it is, right? So can you guys talk a little bit of how you have brought in people from the community, how you guys are taking a look at something and then like how you're expanding on it and then sharing it, right? So like now you're looking at train songs, you're putting stats out, we're getting graphs and charts, right? And we're getting visual imagery to look at some of this stuff. But like, where did that idea sprout from? Because like, okay, yes, we're analog and like these old traditional songs have an old traditional way of media for us, but like it's still like, bro, you guys, you're literally fucking printing on paper and sending it to people, right? Like this is 2025, not 1925. So it is, what's crazy is this is so much different than what is expected in the norm of today.
Right. I think it goes back to kind of the vibe and like what Paul was talking about, the old stuff that Billy's cultivated, and also just like such a strong and passionate fan base. You know, I see us more as not like attracting in energy, but a little more like channeling it. Like these are Billy fans that are already there, right? They really like what he does. They like who he is and how he treats his fans and the show he puts on, and they want to go see him again and again. And we kind of try to channel an energy to like allow people to get a little bit deeper into that, right? So I think that, I don't know if I came up with this in the first scene or the second one, but we think of it as like a readable tour poster, right? So like there's a huge poster culture, right? I'm looking at like 4 right now in this office that I'm talking to you from, right? I'm a top of the line customer, just like the best of them. But you know, so there is a love of physical object, I think, definitely, and like collecting. And I don't know what's cool about like printing 4 times a year, quarterly, like right after a tour, kind of restricting ourselves to writing about what happened that tour, what's on our minds that tour, what's going on in the Billy verse, or, you know, Blue Strings at large, or Blue Strings, Bluegrass at large, at that time. And you can't change the print, right? Like we're going to pick this thing up in 50 years. I can't go back and edit it. You know, I can't change it. I can't delete it. Like it exists. It's in people's houses. And like, it is like, I think Paul used the word that it's an artifact, and it just seems fitting of the culture that Billy has created. And we have the sense that because at the time we started, I think the meme page had like 1,000 or 1,500 followers, that like, I was like, we can get 100 people to get it. And we did, you know, and it's kind of gone from there. But like, I'm really excited to vibe fit, because I do love print media.
And growing the circle has been really cool too, to get to like the second piece of that, like getting everyone else, the artists and other writers. And we've got some folks on copy, shout out the Breakman. We got folks in printing places helping us out, but we got like all these awesome people helping us now. I mean, not to go too deep down like the metaphor track, but like, I don't know, I feel like it's like a little jam circle here, like a little bluegrass jam circle. Like everyone, you gotta kind of pick up an instrument and get in the circle to participate. But then you get in there and you could make a big beautiful song together. And I think, Mr. Conductor put it best. Like we're just channeling an energy. Maybe we're hosting the jam circle, but everyone shows up with their stuff, and we put it there, and there's no deleting it. It's out there. So,
well, and there's so much to add, right? Like you guys, if you're doing it on your own, it's okay, well, this is how we want to do it, right? And then when you start adding these pieces or bringing in artists to do artwork, now you're like, hey, I'd never actually thought about, oh, that's really fucking cool. Let's try to add more of this, right? Or then like hearing people's perspectives or talking about stories. And so like in the zine, if you guys had to say there was like a foundation of like what you could find in every one, what would you guys say is your foundational pieces that no matter what zine you pick up, whether it's 1 through, what number are we on right now? 5 or 6?
5.
Just put out 5 in the world.
Yep. So then what is something that people can consistently see? And then what is something that you guys would like to continue to grow?
Yeah, Mr. Conductor, you want to take this one? I feel like we've kind of established a nice identity here, actually, or a nice rhythm here.
For sure, yeah. I think we have been. It certainly didn't start that way. We just kind of for the first two, Paul and I just put together, kind of jamming back and forth on text, and it's written on like an Apple Notes app, and we laid out the thing and we put it together. But as it's grown, it's definitely a product of the really cool and talented people that have reached out to help. Like with the graphic design, we've got Liza, and like Paul said, we've got Breakman and all the artists involved. And as it's growing, I think the things that will stay constant are we always crunch a little bit of train song data. Like that is so true, because that was kind of the original thesis, was like, these are, Paul and I call it music baseball, like going to Billy Strings concerts, because like if you want to, you can get really into like we're big baseball fans, you can get into like the finite details and like the weird stats that only people on baseballreference.com listen to or whatever.
For sure.
But we were like, hey, what if we took,
what's Billy's war?
It's perfect.
It should be.
There is no
yeah. She makes Shohei Ohtani look like D Gordon. No disrespect to D Gordon.
Big fan of the
reason for this.
Friend of the zine.
All the props to Billy Strings.
But anyway, so what will remain constant, to answer your question, is the train sign data always will be in there, because that was kind of the original thesis. Was like, what if we mailed people train sign data? Like that's kind of neat, and like that was done by me originally, just copy and pasting a spreadsheet, as I told you earlier.
And
like
so that's just being a stats nerd. You just go and you look up set lists, and then you're picking out songs and putting it together.
Yeah, I mean that was the original idea, but now we've got two locomotive engineers involved.
Gotten way more psychotic since then.
Nora and Austin, and they're using like coding languages. Like Nora's like, I put this into R, and I'm like, I go, I don't know what that means.
And
you're
like,
Austin,
okay, sounds great.
Austin has built like a whole database, his own thing that we're able to, talk to and like ask questions and like go back in time.
Oh, wow,
with the
that's
data.
cool.
So it's really, really fun. So that's getting bigger, which is cool. And then we'll always have Paul's old tune review, because that was another like original thesis with the zine. Like Billy has a couple bust outs each tour. Like he'll play some, something really, 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 really old that like no one knows who wrote it. But like we were foaming at the mouth when he did that show in Austin at ACL Live. That was just
for sure. It's
like that's
a small venue, right? And then he just comes out and talks about like foundational bluegrass songs and literally just played an entire show.
No, so man, that's like, we always do the old tune review, and it's by Promontory Paul, and it goes back and tells the history of how those songs came to be. So I don't remember everything that he writes. He really digs deep, but
he does do a great job, because not only does he talk about the song, but he talks about the history, right? And he goes deep into that. And so for anybody that hasn't yet gotten zine number 5, go get that so that you can read the review from Paul to learn about that, because he breaks down a lot of those songs that were covered in that ACL show. And it was very cool, because it's like, it's not something that a lot of people talk about, right? And sadly, like, I mean, we all can joke, but like you go in these groups and you see posts from people that are like, hey, it's really nice to see Billy Strings play with someone like Leftover Salmon and give them a spotlight. And like all of us bluegrass fans are like fucking cringing, because it's like, Jesus Christ, Vince has been around for 25 years doing this. Like, stop it. You're embarrassing yourself, right? Yeah. But that's the other thing, is like, where do you feel like fans can go that get into Billy to learn about bluegrass?
Yeah. And that's what I was getting at when I was like, there's more of us out there, right, that are freaks for the old stuff. And I think like there's something just crazy about being in a stadium or whatever venue and hearing someone sing a song that's been around for 200 years and maybe feeling like the same emotions that someone felt 200 years ago. And like thinking about how like so much has changed, but so much hasn't. And I think that like I wrote a piece in one of the zines, I forget which one at this point, about how like it's kind of like a museum, like seeing an old song like that. It's like a museum that you experience. Like you can feel something that someone felt 200 years ago. You go to a museum, you can see something that someone saw, in ancient Rome. But I don't know, maybe you hear something that someone heard in the Civil War, and it's a similar sensation. So I don't know. To me, that's the idea,
right? And you like hear these lyrics, and then you can like go back, and then you like open your eyes, and now Billy's ripping it to 17,000 people in an arena.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This
One of
is
my
life now?
one of the most vivid memories I have of being at a show with Paul was Worcester last summer when
Yep. Oh, you guys
Billy
are
did
from the fucking Northeast. We'd all call it Worcestershire.
Worcester.
Worcester.
We went to Worcester and
Y'all are wicked smart.
Billy played Wargasm in Worcester, and then right after that he went into Two Soldiers, and like it couldn't have been.
Fuck yeah!
It was, and we were, Wargasm was like in your face, and then the Two Soldiers was like the gentlest, like saddest Civil War ballad you'd ever heard in your life, and we just like looked at each other and we're like, oh my god!
But same emotional catalog, like
exactly, and that's what's so great about
violence.
Billy.
Yeah,
that's what's so great is Billy is an artist, right? Because he wrote Wargasm, right? And there's obviously so much that he's talking about that. But then for him to like transition and pair it into an old song like that with a similar message, right? Like,
yeah, it
how
was crazy.
Fucking cool is that? And like somebody at that show is gonna be like, "Oh, what's this slow fucking song?" And I'm like, "No, shut the fuck up, just listen."
Yeah.
And I guess we never want to, like, if we can bring in that person, like, through memes and through, like, silly train song data and like, have them then read about the history and the next time they show up, like, be the old stuff guy in their friend group, like, that's awesome, we definitely don't want to, like, gatekeep or be holier than thou with the like and the old stuff, but
how many shows have you been to? Are you allowed to even talk about train songs? Like, hold on, I need to see your list.
You don't know anything about the blue-eyed Boston boy. Don't talk to me. Get the blue-eyed Boston boy's name out of your mouth.
Yes, see, that, like, but that's what's crazy, and that's what's cool is I'm so glad that you guys are inclusive and you're not being pretentious about this, and you're trying to share it because Shay and I have talked about, and I want to apologize for everybody. Shay couldn't be here because a family member of his passed away, so he wasn't able to be on this. So thoughts and prayers for my buddy and his family. I'm sorry about all that, but I know that we had talked about like, hey man, like, how do we do something positive to share the love that we have without like gatekeeping or making it seem like we're better than anyone else? Because maybe we do know more bluegrass songs than average for now. Because I feel like when we started, and Shay and I are both 39, but when we were listening to bluegrass, like I've told this before on the pod, I got in basically because of Jeff Austin and Yonder Mountain in like 2001 and String Cheese Incident. And so like, I didn't like back then, you didn't have like Spotify. You couldn't like, hey, here's a suggested song to listen to or go figure this out. I'm sitting at Harmony Park and I hear Jeff Austin play, we're going to play a Hartford tune. And he starts playing Holden. And I'm just going, okay, well, who the fuck wrote this, right? And then I go home and I start looking up John Hartford. But like you guys are starting to give that. And like Paul is giving some of that foundation. So now you can read about these songs and read about this journey and continue to see it grow. So now for the journey of Train Songz, like, where do you guys see this? Because when you look at the stats in this quarters, you can see, I love your guys' line graphs, right? So it's real easy for you guys because you talk about like, one of them shows like the average amount of train songs in a set, right? Which I absolutely love.
Yes, sir.
I will let you boys know that we got 3 train songs in one set on, I think it was Saturday at Ball Arena, which was pretty fun.
Yeah. Night three, set 1.
Oh, was it night 3? Shit. It all blends together.
It's all right.
But yeah, they played Train, a Steam Like Cannonball, and then John Henry. Like, dude. And what I love is now, like, there's such a fandom of the train songs. You got everybody fucking pulling whistles. You got people sneaking in the wooden train songs.
Foaming at the mouth.
Dude, they're fucking train songs. I can only imagine how many fucking tags you guys get, right? From people being like, train songs. But what I wanted to talk about, and I don't think a lot of people may have recognized this, was at the end of that show, Billy was happy he was coming out to like see somebody, and some fucking idiot in the crowd took their wooden train whistle and threw it up at him. And
bummer.
And you can see that he looked at the crowd and he's like, what the fuck? And like walked off. Because like, you get clocked in the face with a wooden block, that's not going to feel good. So for all you fucking train song fans, love the whistles, don't be a fucking idiot and don't throw it at Billy, right? But like,
Amen.
Yeah,
And
and let the train songs happen naturally too. I'll throw that out there too. The last thing we want is to become a scary, train mafia that just screaming train songs from the crowd. Like, I think the
Exactly.
beauty is when they
Dude,
roll
please,
along
you guys, don't ruin this for me. Althea and Grateful Dead was already taken away. I don't
Yeah.
want them to cut us off of train songs either.
Exactly. So let them roll along and listen to them roll
Yeah.
by. But yeah,
Come
Don't do
naturally.
anything.
You want it to be up to Billy to go and pull that stuff.
that's what makes it beautiful. It's out of your hands.
So you guys had talked about some of those initial shows that really pulled you in. Can you talk about recently some of these? Because I know the first thing that any of us that really love these train songs talk about is the Tampa show, right?
Yes.
And so
magical day.
For those people that don't know, it was what, April 13th?
April 13th. Yes, sir.
Forever. We will
Forever
remember April 13th.
Got it tattooed
Right?
on my.
And so let's talk about it, because what happened on April 13th in Tampa?
We got the all train set 1, all animal set 2, just an unsuspecting audience in Tampa, Florida.
You're like, what the fuck does Tampa have to do a train song? Like, absolutely nothing, right? And then they just get a whole fucking set, just a full-blown banger.
That's what keeps you
right?
coming back, man. You never know what you're gonna get.
You
Dude, gotta
never
chase
know.
that dragon, baby. Gotta chase people like, oh yeah, I'm chasing one song. Yeah, well, I'm chasing a full fucking set of train songs. Really, if you're listening, get that shit done. But not at a show that I don't go to, please.
My God. I got some DMs from people that day that were like, yeah, I took my dad and that was his first show and he was really confused. Like, oh man.
You're like,
That would-
yeah, but
that would make
hopefully
sense.
you get to express like how special what they did get to see was, right?
Oh, 1,000,000%. Yeah.
Yeah, total collector's item, one of one. I mean, same
That's-
with that like old tune show in Texas we were talking about. Like that's cool, man. Like just
every now
absolute
and
collector's
again.
item. That's why this is so fun. Is each one's different, and you take it with you, and it's a souvenir.
So
which I love.
I don't mean to put you guys on the spot, but do we know? Because I know one of your graphs talks about like the average time train songs have been played. So what are some of the most common ones? Obviously, I mean, not looking, I would expect that it'd be something like Slow Train, right?
Yeah, you are correct. That has been a steady number one since
It's the most play. I mean, it makes the most sense, right? But what else comes in there towards the top? And then what are the ones that you guys are chasing that either haven't been played yet or that are those deep cuts that he's only played a few times? Because we all know he loves to do that to us.
For sure. I mean, I know towards the top we got like Ruben's Train's definitely up there. Riding That Midnight Train's definitely up there. Train 45, it depends how you count it. There's some setlist sites that count Train 45 as it's played after on the line as an independently played Train 45. Although Train Songz does not subscribe to that count. It's because when they recorded on the line live, they did tag on Train 45 at the end, but it's not a separate track. So it depends how you count it. We don't count those in the zine data, or else Train 45 would be number one because of all the times that they play on the line. So
Okay.
that is, that it's like back to baseball.
Trivia
That's
question for you, train folk.
right. You got your Fangraphs war and your baseball reference war. There's two different
Philosophies.
stats. But I would personally love to see City of New Orleans.
Oh, shit.
That
Has
would
he ever played that?
Yes, twice in New Orleans.
I was going to say
at
in New
smaller
Orleans?
venues like Tippy Tina's.
Tipitina's. Yeah, I
and
feel like
somewhere
I do
else.
remember that once.
Yeah,
that
would rock.
That was like 3 years ago.
Long time ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
It had to have been a hot minute. Is there any Promontory Paul? You're our historian here, right?
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
what are some of our deep cuts? What are we not going to be yelling at him from the crowd?
Well, I personally, I think that he's played this a couple times, but I haven't heard it. I'd love an old train like a la Tony Rice,
Yeah,
like
dude.
that. I think the second I hear that little intro come in, I'd lose my mind. Haven't seen a good train that carried my girl from town into Black Mountain Rag in a while. But that one hit, and I just love that as a kind of a vehicle for flexing and showing off and like in
That's
jam
actually
circles,
amazing.
trading licks.
That's amazing that you say that, because I was lucky enough to be backstage at the Denver shows, and my kids are like, how the fuck are you talking to Billy Strix? Well, they obviously didn't say that because they're 8 and 5. But my daughters are like, who are you talking to? I was like, oh, Billy. And they're like, what? And so they're like, I want to ask him a question. And so one of the questions that I asked Billy that my oldest daughter wanted to know was, what is one of his favorite songs to play? And it was Black Mountain Rag.
I believe it. That's just a good time, you know?
And he's
That's
a fucking ripper, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like it's definitely something. And I feel he played Black Mountain Rag, I think at that ACL show. That's the last time that he played that. But he used to play it a lot more a few years ago. And that's what's funny is like the ebbs and flows. And that's why it was interesting for me to read the zine and see like how these ups and downs go, because it was funny. You guys talked about like, oh, hey, when we started doing this, and then the train songs shoot way up, right? And then they're like bouncing back and forth. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, man. That's something we're trying to develop in our, stay tuned for issue 6, but with the more sophisticated database that some of Austin and Nora mostly are putting together, is looking at songs that have like come and gone, like, what was really popular, not just train songs, but like what was really popular in 2022 that like we don't hear anymore. What was really popular, in 2023 that like was nowhere in 2021, and like trying to just like see what's up there, like appreciate the ebbs and flows again of like music baseball.
And like what rose from the ashes, right? Like, why has it been 5 years since he played the song? Like, what's going on? I know it's obviously not a train song, but we got Rocky Raccoon for the first time in forever.
Yeah.
Right.
We got that one
this
in
is
Cleveland.
this is our flex, man. First off, we're sorry that we were like 4 songs late or something.
Jesus Christ, you guys. No, everybody fuck them. They come to shows late.
Crazy.
It was so
you leave
bad.
empty chairs too, don't you? You sons of bitches.
Really, we were late. It was like Cleveland 2022, I think. It involved
too busy driving from the Northeast, or what the fuck?
That's exactly it.
That was
exactly it.
Really? We were like, we could walk to the venue. We could walk, and then like the walk was way too long, and then we were late. But we went in, and I think the first like full song we got, maybe the second full song we got when we got in there was Rocky Raccoon, which is really cool. That's one of our claims to fame. We're always talking about that.
Well, and that's what I want people to know. It's like, yes, it's called Train Songs, and we're talking a lot about trains, but that's not all you talk about. And although this was born from Billy, like you guys are now, I like that you called it strings grass, but like
blue string
or blue strings, whatever the fuck. It's dyslexia. Right? But it's a combination, because your love from Billy has now like expanded. And what's great is like, I'm sure you guys are getting tagged by all these other great musicians that are now playing train songs, right? And you can hear the different way that different bands interpret these songs and how they play them. And I feel like that's what's so special about music as an art, right? Is like to see, like I always tell people, hey, you can give me and somebody next to me the exact same ingredients to make a pie, but we're going to make something completely different. But we're going to make something different based upon how we, right?
Right.
So listening to how some of these bands play and interpret some of these other train songs is super great. But then you're also helping elevate, showing some of these people, again, for this fan base that may not know some of these other artists. Now they're getting highlighted on Train Songs, and now people may go in. What I loved about this episode or this zine was you guys got the boys from Mountain Grass Unit.
Oh yeah.
That was a real treat.
How did that come about?
That came about from a cold email that we shot the team after renewal, like I think
after the fact.
It was after. Yeah, we didn't like have the interview booked, and then we were like, "Well, now we got to pivot. We know what the story is." It was Paul and I talking, being like, "Hey, we didn't. I don't think anyone covered this in a serious way as much as we think it should be on the cover of the New York Times. It wasn't. So we decided to do our own bozo journalism, reach out and see what we could do, because I think you're right in what you're saying. Of we are trying to expand the palette of the zine, the scope of the zine beyond only covering Billy String's tour. Like we want to think of it as a bluegrass zine. We want to think of it as talking about Mountain Grass Unit. And with each episode, we're coming out with a radio show. We did North Fork Crossing for this issue, Buffalo Galaxy before that. So trying to use our, I say this in huge air quotes, platform to help, other bands out and take a Billy fan who, like me, so more than Paul, like found Billy and went into bluegrass backwards. Paul's definitely been more of like an old stuff freak, and I really respect him for that. But like I'm definitely the find Billy and work backwards and the falling in love with the old stuff guy.
Well, that's great, because there's two sides of the coin, right? And so there's some of us like Paul, and then there's a lot of us that are like you.
Yeah. For sure, man. And yeah, to get back to Mountain Grass, like that was really cool of them. We kind of fished our wish and being able to like, all right, we want to broaden our aperture. This would be a really cool story to tell because like, you know, we joked with them that it read like a Disney Channel original movie of like Paul texted me during when it was happening, like them someone running around, like backstage, like, does anyone know the chords to Dust in a Baggie? We need Dust in a Baggie on stage right now. And like the kids like feebly like raising their hands, like we can do it. But like now we didn't know how it was going.
Do Dust in a Baggie,
like,
but we'll fucking blow your mind with turmoil and tinfoil.
Exactly. So we wanted to hear from them, like because we just, you know, independently like them and wish the best for them. But like it just seemed like a cool story to tell, and it was an honor to be able to interview them and, you know, put their words on the page and tell the story.
That's funny because similar to you guys, I have reached out to Mountain Grass Unit as well, and we're gonna get them to come onto the podcast to share some of their story. And so, I know, and that's what I was gonna say is like going through and reading your zine, which again, for you guys that don't have it and haven't subscribed, there are a few different options for you guys to get the zine. So they can follow you guys on socials, right? Is it just Instagram or is it Facebook as well?
We are on Instagram. Is kind of the main ship is Train Songz, and then we're soft launching Promontory Paul as the Facebook presence of Train Songz. He is his profile is in Billy Strings Fans, and we're just slowly posting in there, but we're definitely just wading the waters.
Awesome. And as much as it is a actual hard copy of a zine, you guys do offer a digital version as well, right?
We actually make it pretty dang hard to get the digital version. We don't just email it out. Kind of used to, and like if someone is like, "Yo, I'm on tour for 3 months. Like I don't have an address. Like, can you email me a scan?" I'll be like, "Yeah, for sure."
There's wooks that do that.
Damn
it, I got a family and a job and kids. I've never met this. When you watch this years later, I'm sorry.
So no, it's so good. What we do instead though is we offer pretty much anyone who asks for it a free copy of the physical. Like we will mail you a free copy of the physical for every 10 that we sell, and it's never been a problem keeping up with demand and being able to. The first 4 were completely free, and then we pivoted, but we don't need to get into the economic history of running this thing. But
if you did, you actually did a great job because you sent an email. I don't know if it was this week or last week, but you were completely transparent. It was this weekend. So you were completely transparent about the financials. But before I get into that conversation, what I want to do is, where do people go to sign up for it? And where do the cheap fucks that want to get the free one go as well? And what I'll tell you guys is it doesn't cost much to support these guys and to continue to support their growth. So where do people go to support you guys and build you up?
Yeah, for sure. It's just zine.trainsongs.net is where you can grab it. And it's all on the same page. So there's a subscription, and you can sliding scale that from $33 to $99. And at the bottom of that same page takes you to a form that you can fill it out to request one for free. And that's all for the year. And then also on the website, the only other thing on the website is just grabbing this individual issue, which does not get you the rest of the 4 for the year, but you can pay from $5 to $33, or also at the bottom, you can request a free one and we will happily mail it to you because, it's a truly community funded thing, and it wouldn't exist without the support of the community. So we just want to give it to as many people as possible. But like, you know, print isn't free, but it's also like, we're kind of making the choice not to just make it a digital product that you can just read. So like, we try to make the physical print as accessible as possible, and we're working really hard to get it to every show on lot with volunteers and stuff. So it's around. You can just test your luck.
And that's actually, I'll be perfectly honest, that's how I got it. I was at a show and somebody just handed me, like, "You want a zine?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah." And then I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this? And then I go onto Instagram, and I was already following your account, but I had no fucking clue about the actual zine at the time. So then it was cool. Now you have no problems. Everybody knows what's available. I just want to make sure that they knew about it. And then the financial thing, so that people understand this isn't some big cash grab, right? And you showed, not only are you paying the people that are helping you guys get going, you are supporting the community from within, and you are continuing to grow, right? you made a donation to Drew Doffin's GoFundMe of over $1,000, right? Like, it's fucking awesome of you guys to be so forefront in wanting to make a positive change in this community that I just want to give you props. And from all of us as fans, thank you for what you're doing. And we're excited to see it go and continue to grow. But what I want to know now is like, okay, so we have this zine. The next one doesn't come out till second quarter. This one actually talked about renewal and some of the stuff that had happened there. You have a great interview with MGU. In Paul's review, I think you guys also have a QR code to go and listen to playlists, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that so that people can like, hey, I don't even know like what this song is, and now you can go and experience it?
Yeah, it's been fun. This most recent one, we've really tried to connect like a little bit of, to your point, like the zine itself is physical and that's important to us, but there's some digital, read along material that we've connected to. So we've made a couple YouTube playlists, one specifically for the old tune review that has some like old and noteworthy recordings that I've dug up in my YouTube thing. So pretty much like the earliest recordings I can find of certain songs from kind of back in the day. So good listening there. And then we also have a couple other playlists on Nugs of Billy tunes, other tunes that we like. We've been playing with YouTube a little bit, which is fun. We also, I really want to plug this because like thinking about the future, this is something I'm super excited about is the Train Songz Presents. We've been doing like a quarterly kind of mini concert, not a podcast necessarily, but like just a little mini concert.
First. Sorry, I had to.
Up and Mr. Conductor, you've been leading the charge on getting those recorded and organized, but definitely encourage people if you listen to one thing, would be go check out some of those bands that we've tried to put the spotlight on with the Train Songz Presents. So,
what I would tell people is those that are listening, if you have a local scene or you have a band that you listen to and you're like, fuck, they play this song or whatever it is, share it with these guys, because for us, the more that we can share with you, the more that you guys can share with everyone else on your platform, whether you want to admit it or not. You guys have built something and it's beautiful, right? And so like this comes from a love of not just Train Songz, but the music. And so for us, we may not know that there's some small band in West Virginia or wherever it may be, right? That like absolutely rips something. You're like, hey, let's check this out. Because you don't know how much could that impact them for it to get on, and then somebody else sees it, and now it just starts going, right?
Yeah, 1,000. And like that, you were talking about like the financial aspect and all of that. Like we really, like for me, and I know for the Conductor as well, like if we could just be 100 years from now, a small footnote in the history of bluegrass of like the era of 2020 to whatever, there was this little publication and a couple cool bands came out of it and a couple of cool stories came out of it. That's it. Put that on my tombstone. That's like the mission is really to like contribute something to this and be a part of it and participate in it. So you
guys are already doing it, and you have something to be proud of. And so that's super awesome. I know that you talked about some of the issues with the physical form. First off, if you ever need anybody to fold the zines for you, I got you covered. Careful
what you ask.
Listen, bro, I'll fucking do it. Oh man, I can only imagine. But
first couple, man. Yeah.
Well, so now this one, it's thick, right? And you're like, well, shit. The USPS says that it has to be a quarter of an inch or smaller, and you're like, this is exactly what we're sitting at. So, like, for you guys, I know that you were talking about, hey, we want to continue to figure out how to grow this and do this. How do you continue to evolve and make this bigger while also still protecting your process and your product?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. And like, I mean, if you asked us that a year ago, like we've made a ton of sacrifices since then, right? Like the first one was 100% printed in my apartment, like on the printer I'm looking at right now, folded in my apartment.
Bro, how come we don't have an archive photo of the Train Songz printer from the original?
So like it was 100% homemade in my apartment, like laid out on an iPad in a really bad way. Like, and then the second one, Paul came over for the weekend and we bought like these newfangled print contraptions because we were moving from an 8-page zine, which you can make from one piece of paper, no staples, just folding in a pair of scissors. I remember
because it folded up into one big one, right?
Yeah. That was the first one.
I'm not
and then,
gonna
so the
fucking lie,
second
it was
one,
super confusing.
it's like
And then trying to put that thing back in my fucking pocket, like
yeah.
for all the folding I
No.
have done, I was just like, and it's
There's
in my pocket now.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's a map on the back of the first issue of Train Songs.
How
If
to?
you down
Oh,
some
there
lemon
is.
juice. No. But
Well, there fucking should have been. Now
so
you
then
know.
this the second one that we had Paul came over to my apartment. We bought all this newfangled like hand cranked paper folding machines and like booklet staplers, and it looked like we worked at like a parish hall or like a church or something, and we were like preparing the materials.
It's like
And we made
out.
them all by hand. Yeah, we made them all by hand. It was like 3 inserted pages
Okay.
that we printed, and then we cut with like a guillotine, and then we folded with the folding machine that was hand cranked.
A labor
and then-
of love. Literally.
And then we stapled it. And then the third one is when we switched over to print shops with the help of Liza, who does all the design for the zine. She is the art and design director, but
Okay.
she also works or has worked at a print shop that she has a good relationship with. So we've gone, Train Songz sells out round 1 is we went from the 100% homemade and hand stamped in our apartment, like the cover art was stamped on, to printing the booklets at a print shop and having them fold, staple, print it. But then we stayed hand stamping the cover.
It was like a block print, the original?
The original was just Paul made it on his iPad, and we paid we paid someone on Etsy to make a stamp. So it wasn't a full block print. It was just it was a rubber stamp.
But similar.
The
but
third
yeah,
one was kind of a block print.
The third one, was hand carved by Casey, and the whole cover was a stamp, which was pretty damn rad. This stamp looks like you'd lose a fight to someone with this stamp in their hand. It's like it looks like a brick.
But that's what's so dope about you guys and like including the community, because the art and the artists that you guys have been utilizing has been growing as well, right? Like there's
exactly.
The dig the deeper in the well is a awesome image. But then what I loved was in that MGU interview, I don't know if you guys had commissioned that out, but the artist drawing of MGU is fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, so that is Allison is the woman's name who drew that, and she's a friend of Forest City Press, who I met on Lot at a Billy show, who now handles like all of the Train Songz merch, right? So like that's everyone in there. Like we try really, 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 really hard to keep like the work and the talent and like honestly the money like flowing within the community, because like we're you saw that email, we're looking at like, hey, this is something that we used to take optional Venmos for and people would pay us, and it kept us afloat, to like now this is something that people are willing to buy online between 5, 10.
Well, and
some
that's why
people
the subscription model really helped, right? Because now, as much as you guys are being transparent and trying to foot the bill your own, it doesn't cost a lot to support, right? And it is something really fun to like you said, getting mail. Like I was super giddy to go to my mailbox and pull something out that wasn't a fucking bill, right? And it was,
Right.
and I saw that like Train Songz, Brooklyn, New York. I'm like, fuck yeah! Like it's stoked, and it's cool because the people, when they get it, they're taking pictures, they're sharing it, right? Like the fans are taking care of you guys just as you guys are taking care of the fans, and that's what's beautiful about our community.
Yeah, it's been definitely. I mean, Paul, you can talk about it if you want to, but it's been really, really cool and important to us to keep people involved. Like the guy who did the cover artist was the cover artist on this last one. Like we met him in the pit at Worcester. Like I saw this guy, he was live sketching the band on stage.
Oh shit.
And I just went up to him with a zine and I was like, we need to work together, sir. I don't know what's going on here.
So some people do know what the Conductor and Promontory Paul look like.
We're not.
It's
yeah,
not
we're not
me.
hiding.
I don't fucking know. Just so you guys know, they do black screens of death to me too. Okay, like
don't wanna know.
There's stuff. No, I told you guys before. I wish that I could have the anonymity, but being a 6'4", 300-pound man that wears a fucking highlight yellow Green Bay Packers hat, that is long gone, and I'm fucking ruined. So give these boys their privacy. Thank them for what they do, but there's a reason why you're trying to stay a little bit behind the scenes. But that's fucking cool. So how was that received? Because I'm sure as an artist, you're like, wow, I wasn't doing this for any recognition or any expectation. He's just doing that out of the passion. You see that passion and you're like, fuck yeah, let's partner up.
Yeah. like we know a little something about not doing something for recognition, but just because we, for the passion of it. So that's the cool part. Like it's self-contained. There's a freak economy that we are happy to be a part of and like tap into. And it's just like an awesome way to meet people, and even getting involved in even the smallest way, like following the account or ordering a zine. Like I think you get a little taste of all the different kind of characters that are in there. So it's kind of a beautiful collage of the whole scene, and we really are big on just kind of reinvesting that back into the product. So hopefully that'll carry us into the future in its own way, right? Like it's never going to be static. It's always going to be evolving, and things are going to be changing, and the vibe will change, the songs will change, but the underlying community, I was saying to someone, I think I was at Grisman in Boston last week, and I was talking to someone like, I hope in like 30 years from now, we're still all doing this. And like, we're like, man, remember when we first met, like back at whatever, in Nashville and in Boston and Cleveland, and like, that's cool. So
yeah,
that's what we're just trying to build, something that'll last and bring as many people with us as we can.
It's a community within the community, right? And that's what's so special, is all of us can find our different subsects and things like that. Because like you guys with the podcast, I was just doing it because I like to bullshit, right? And I obviously talk a lot of shit, and it could be good and bad, but it's been fucking fun, and I absolutely love it. And I've been so blessed, and I've met so many people that I never would have had the chance to meet if I wasn't doing this. And so I truly loved what you guys were doing, which is why I had reached out and I said, hey, I'd love to tell your guys' story a little bit more than what some people know, so that they can have a little bit of a deep dive. And I think that this episode does a great job of kind of telling you your foundation and where you're coming from. But what I want to know now, and what we'll wrap this episode up with, is what are you guys looking for in 2025? Are you hitting any shows yourself? And how can we continue to help support Train Songz?
Yeah, man. I'll start because I want to get back to the question, and this will tie in, like the question of how do you grow the thing while kind of keeping it bespoke and homegrown. We are just looking to get as many people involved with the zine as possible who want to bring their unique talents to it, because it's such a, like, I hold it in my hand now, like the first one, like that's my brain on paper, that was me and Paul, just like guys and making a little magazine. Like I cannot claim this thing anymore. It is such a piece, the art and the writing and the layout and like everything about it is like how much like talent and care that other people have brought to our original idea. And like, that's been super, rewarding, one, but also two, like beneficial, because it's just gotten better, and I can say that because I'm not responsible for it. And like, so that's what we're looking.
Humble, bro.
I think we like
know whether you're not fully responsible.
I just make the memes, man.
But you are definitely a huge part of what started this movement, right? And so
thank you.
So we're gonna guess, bro. You are conducting this train,
and we're looking forward to going to a couple shows down the line. Paul and I've got Nashville lined up, so we're excited for that. And then
don't talk to him. Leave him alone. Don't make eye contact.
And then nothing until Australia after that, probably.
Wait,
we're not going to Australia.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck? Okay.
No, like there's nothing on the calendar, I think, that I'm able to attend until after Australia.
From my understanding is it'll be this winter, spring tour or whatever, and then they're going into the Outlaw tour and then summer tour in Australia. So
really winter tour, man.
Yeah, winter tour in Australia, but here it's fucking summer. So, but realistically, I don't have the money to fucking get there. So we'll catch you on couch tour.
One podcast at a time, baby.
Oh, bro. Well, and then that's the other thing. Where people are like, oh, why don't you? And I'm like, I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to like do this for anything other than the fact that I'm getting to have conversations with like people like you. I just got to ask all the questions to Train Songz that I've wanted to fucking know the answers to, right? The fact that I did it behind a camera that we will then share with other people is just a fucking cherry on top for me. And so like, other than being sexually assaulted by Andy Frasco, everything's been amazing, right? Like but Paul,
yes.
What is kind of your vision for like, where do you want to go? What else do you want to continue to review? Because as you review these songs, right, you're slowly knocking them off of the list, and you can't do it again. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So then
no repeats,
no repeats, baby.
Yeah.
So what is your vision, and what is this going to look like from your angle?
Yeah, man. Well, I think there's something to be said of the depth of the well. Definitely, you're right. Like, you start to pick them off one by one. But like every show I go to, I really, I make the rounds like on YouTube and in the depths of all kinds of
The
forums.
deep dark corners of the internet.
He's a menace at 2 a.m. on the YouTube app on an iPad.
I'm a real disaster. But every show I go to, I walk away with some kind of souvenir. So that well hasn't dried up yet, but we will continue to explore that. But I think it's all about like continuing like the contemporary story and how the story is being told today, and like that's through all the bands like we were talking about that are coming up and doing it, and the bands that have been doing it. Everyone's got their own spin on it, and they put their own flavor on it. So even if the titles run out, there's an infinite number of versions for us to pick from.
And that's the thing. Like there's all these foundational Train songs, but there's also bands that are writing new Train songs now, right?
Yeah, here we are in the present day, exactly. So,
and it's like, when was the last time any of you motherfuckers even got on a train? Right?
Every day, baby.
Right.
Every day.
Oh, that's New York. God damn it! I forgot you're in New York.
That's that New York lifestyle.
That is that New York.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, forget
no
about it.
No steam engines, though.
No,
it's all underground.
Just steam-powered airplanes, baby.
There was some kind of smoke on my train this morning, but it wasn't steam.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Well, gentlemen, I cannot thank you enough. I really appreciate being able to have this conversation. I'm super stoked to finally get to see behind the curtain and meet you guys someday down the road. I appreciate everything that you're doing for the community. Please don't hesitate to ask myself or anyone else in our community for what the help you guys need, and we will come together to do this, because this is a beautiful community. This bluegrass, this music community is something special, and I truly feel blessed to be a part of it. I'm so honored to be able to have you guys on and tell your story. Is there anything else that you guys want to say before you're heading down the road, or I guess down the tracks?
Ooh, real nice. Let me think. Like, go to your local bluegrass music. Go to your local like watering hole where a band is playing, and just give them a listen.
Seek out the local iteration of the game of telephone that Billy's playing on the big stage. Go see it on the small stage.
Yeah,
buy a ticket. There's been too many local bluegrass hubs that have gone out of business, and at least in New York City since after COVID. I know it's been really hard on some places. So yeah, big on the support your local grass act for sure. Go to some shows.
That's what's up, boys. That's what's up. Thank you so much for your time. And again, at Train Songz with a Z, go follow.
Like Train Songz.
Like Train. And make sure to go subscribe to the zine. Thank you, boys.
Thanks for having us, brother. Appreciate it.
This is fun, man.